Welcome back, everyone. You are here for the third session of our first ever virtual Librarians Day, and we are to the very fun one of children's books. So this section will cover children's picture books, children's early readers, tweens, and then some youth books. So I hope you are in for a fun time. We will get started and see what happens. Again, we will post these videos later on YouTube. I'll send out the link for these if you missed the first two or can't stick around for this one or the next one, which is fiction. Make sure you watch for links to go up on the videos, and you can watch them at a later date. So without further ado, let's get started on kids' books. Hopefully I can do this without making too much of a mess. The first one is by a local author and her sister, by Michelle and Naya, called Hole in the Heart. It seems to me, as I am thinking, you see, that there should not be a hole in my heart. It just seems wrong from the start. No, this should not be. This is a fun way to tell the gospel story about a hole in the heart. It's all rhyming and kind of Dr. Seuss-ish. So, Hole in the Heart, like I said, a local author. Mama Kisses, Papa Hugs by Lisa Ton Berggren. She's the same author that brought us God Gave Us You, God Gave Us Two, God Found Us You. And this is her newest one about a little boy who thinks he's too old for mama's kisses and daddy's hugs. So they kind of look through the animal kingdom. Let me get into the beginning and see the different kind of kisses and hugs there are, like sloth or a lion, and he decides maybe he could handle mama's kisses and papa's hugs. It's a really cute book. Grow, Candace, Grow. This is by Candace Cameron Bure, if any of you recognize that name. This is the second in her book with little Candace. Candace Takes Center Stage is the first one, and this is a gardening book. So cute little pictures there. Grow, Candace, Grow. Another gardening book that just came out, Gracie's Garden by Laura Casey. And this one is about some children that want to start a garden, and they're very impatient. So they have to learn what it takes to have a garden. So again, cute pictures. What will they do while he waits on those tiny tomato seeds to grow? Step into the garden to find out. And Even Me by Adrienne Camp. This is the wife of Jeremy Camp. So earlier in the biography books, we talked about their story. Jeremy Camp is a singer, a Christian contemporary singer. And this she wrote with their two daughters, Adventure of Two Girls Reaching Out to Share God's Love. So it's about being young and still being able to reach out and show God's love to people, about going to different places. Our hearts were stirred, although bittersweet. We realized there's a void, a job incomplete. We were sad to leave, but eager to share, understanding God's love can be found anywhere. So a very pretty book with talking about how even the young ones can bring God's hope and light to the world. My Breakfast with Jesus. This is another one about traveling to different places, and it's all about different breakfasts in different places. So there's Jesus with the disciples, and then an American breakfast, and Brazil, the Netherlands, so it just goes to different places, Korea. So talking about how Jesus cooked breakfast for his friends, and now 2,000 years later, family and friends all around the world start food with their bellies and the love of Jesus in their hearts. Only You Can Be You by Nathan and Sally Clarkson. What makes you different makes you great. So that has been a theme of several books this year, just understanding and embracing the differences of children, size, shape, color, abilities. This one's also available in a board book. So This one, after I looked at it, I don't know that it would be appropriate for a church library, but it would be really cool for a family. The Walk With Me Through the Philippines. It's got games and activities, and then like matching tear out card games and stuff, maybe if you made it into a little kit. But this one would be kind of cool to have in a church library. Friends Around the World Atlas. This is from Compassion International. So it has that fold out thing, and then it goes to different countries and gives you kind of a breakdown of the countries. It's got little things to open up in there. So a very cool resource book. This one, the Walk With Me, the Philippines, might be better suited for an individual family, unless you wanted to make it, all the pieces come out. This is The Church. And this is a book talking about, from the old classic, here's the church, here is the steeple. This is just showing that the church looks very different no matter where you go, which is especially important right now when we haven't been in the church building, but that we are still the church. So it just shows different places that people can meet and still be the church. So that's very cool. Different Like Me is another one that embraces the differences of children. I look all around and what do I see? So many kids who are different from me. Different shades, different hair, different eyes, different smiles. Even our body are different styles. And that just talks about how God created us all differently. So, very pretty pictures. Mommy's favorite smell. What do you think that is? Little lion keeps sniffing to find my favorite smell. I like all the little baked goods on the front. Little lion sniffed the air as Mommy Lion took a pan of delicious smelling cinnamon rolls from the oven. Mommy Lion frosted one and set the gooey treat on Little Lion's plate. It's sweet indeed, but the yummy scent of cinnamon rolls is not my favorite. Little Lion had not found Mommy Lion's favorite smell. Since it was time for bed, her search had to come to an end. Little Lion nuzzled Mommy Lion's side and asked one last time, "What's your favorite smell?" Mommy took a long sniff of Little Lion's fur and then smelled Baby Lion too. "You, my little one," Mommy Lion said. "There's no smell I love more than you." So, all about the smells. Not always probably is that her favorite smell, but right then it was. Oh, got out of order. She Believed and She Prayed. These are two new books about their small biographies on different people. Gladys Aylward, Clara Barton, Catherine Booth, Amy Carmichael, Fanny Crosby. How did I do that? Opened right to the right page. Florence Nightingale, Edith Schaeffer, Mary Slessor, Corrie ten Boom, Mother Teresa, Sojourner Truth, and Harriet Tubman. And then this one has some Bible characters and some others. So Praying Girls Are World Changers, and just Girls Are World Changers. So She Believed and She Prayed, and they are geared more towards younger. There are some books coming up that will be a little bit more towards the older ages, but these are geared more towards younger girls. Oh yeah, sorry. Those of you who've been here before know that I just get confused sometimes, so bear with me. Jesus and the Very Big Surprise. This is from a series of books, Tales That Tell the Truth, and they're all different Bible stories. This is a true story about Jesus, his return, and how to be ready. So this is a very good series and very biblical. There's that. There's another one in that series coming up later. Also by the same author, a little bit different look. The Society of Extraordinary Raccoon Society. This one's on boasting. They're different themed, so a little bit more cartoonish. And the raccoons are learning different characteristics. So this one is about boasting. And there is also a secret meeting one that I don't have here. There's, I think, at least 4 books in that series so far. Another series, I think we had a couple of these last year, but these are called The Good News for Little Hearts. So when you want something too much, Gus loses his grip. When you are sad, Henry says goodbye. That's about losing a pet ladybug. When you are lonely, Tori comes out of her shell. And when you are anxious, Zoe's hiding place. So I think these would be great for kids, obviously going through different things. The anxious one, maybe even the lonely one right now with kids being separated from people that they love. A new one that we just got in this week, The Marvelous Maker, A Creation and Redemption Parable by April Graney. These illustrations are just so beautiful. So this is talking about creation, and then they get sent from the garden, but how God had a plan for redemption. Fear not, he said, I will be with you. Believe in me with all you do. Let every heart and life make room, for surely I will come back soon. So that's a brand new one. Illustrates the gospel in a powerful way, offering a story that is beautiful not only to the eye and ear, but to the heart as well. And this one is a wordless book about love. So, except for that right there, it just tells a story with pictures using color. So you could tell the story a little different every time, or let your child tell the story about this little girl and how she's sharing love with the world. It's really pretty cool. Okay, so that's called Shine. This one is another new one, The Prisoner's Escape and The Midnight Song. So in that same Tales That Tell the Truth series, this is Paul and Silas in jail. And they do an excellent job of retelling Bible stories in a fun way that kids will listen to. So there's that one. Who Sang the First Song and Don't Forget to Remember are two board books. I don't think we had this one last year, but we might have. But they are some of the most beautiful illustrations. Hope I can show them to you. This one is so cool. That's a reflection. So I know it's upside down, but they're walking up here and that's a reflection in the water. I just love them. So the little girl asks her mommy who sang the first song, and they go through and discover that it was God, our maker. And then in this one, do you ever forget to remember what's true? And this is a celebration of creation and how it reminds us who God is. So again, just beautiful illustrations. These are board books. I don't always put board books on the list, but I think these would be really good for a library. Arlo and the Great Big Cover-Up. Arlo is supposed to be on his bed resting, and he is not supposed to leave his bed while he's at rest time. But there's this little mark on the wall, and boy, doesn't that look like a smile? He should probably make that into a happy face. But he can't quite reach his markers with keeping his foot on the bed, but he gets it anyway. Then he draws a face. And he realizes pretty quick, oops, that was a mistake. So he puts a frame around it. Maybe that'll fix it. Mama's gonna figure that out. Tries to clean it. What can he do? So now see, he's off his bed again. He piles all his toys up. You'll never see. Mama comes in and figures out pretty quick something's up. So they figure it out. And at first Arlo doesn't want to tell the truth, but he does. And Mama reminds him that just like she's going to forgive him, God forgives us. He does have some consequences for breaking the rules, but she loves him, and that we all make mistakes, but God forgives us. So a really good lesson about telling the truth and covering up our lies, and reminder that God will still forgive us. So Arlo and the Great Big Cover-Up. Clap Your Hands, A Celebration of the Gospel by Michelle Wood. So this is about African celebrations, African people. Clap your hands to the rhythm in the sanctified churches. Clap your hands to the rhythm of Bronzeville on Chicago's South Side. Clap your hands to the rhythm of the gospel quartets. It's kind of a history of gospel music. Clap your hands to the rhythm of gospel women. It's pretty cool. I'm not reading all the words, obviously. Rhythms of exploration, Motown, gospel music power. So it's just a celebration of gospel music and the history of that. So there's that. And then Where is Wisdom? A treasure hunt through God's wondrous world, inspired by Job 28. There's treasure everywhere if you know where to look. It's kind of from the questions when, is it down in the deep caverns or at the bottom of the sea? Join the hunt through the wonders of the created world, all in search of true wisdom that comes from God alone. So there's that. Okay, we made it through one basket. Now I've lost my place. Okay, A Place Called Heaven for Kids by Dr. Robert Jeffress. 10 exciting things about our forever home. So if you have children that are asking about what is heaven like, this would be a great book. Talks about, is heaven a real place? What does heaven look like? So biblical explanations about what is heaven. God Made Me Unique. This is from Johnny and Friends. Johnny Erickson Tada and her organization Johnny and Friends. So again, another one about celebrating people even when they're different. Talks about how God made us and how we all look different. So God's kingdom is full of people uniquely made in his image, and this book helps children to learn how every person is valuable, eliminating fear and misconception about those who have special needs. Okay, Good Night, My Darling Dear by Amy Cavalaris, Prayers and Blessings for You. Okay, these illustrations, paintings are just amazing. Whoops. Very floral. My heart is full, my darling dear, you're a dream come true. The moment when your life began, a part of mine did too. So just kind of fanciful, beautiful prayers, pictures. And when you see a rainbow shining in the sky afar, God's painting you a picture of the miracle you are. Would be a great good night book. What's so wonderful about Webster? Okay, Webster isn't feeling so wonderful. It's almost field day and Webster is worried. He always trips on the jump rope and his egg race skills just make a mess. How will he help his class get the medal? He's sure God forgot to make anything special about him. This is from the Kendrick brothers, and this is the book that came out of the movie Overcomer. So this is their kids' version about your identity in Christ. So you have to read it to find out what's so wonderful about Webster if you can't figure that out already. All right. Wherever you go, I want you to know. This is a fairly new book. It's very cute, very Dr. Seuss-ish again. Listen, little one, I want you to know I have a big dream wherever you go. There's so much to do and so much to see. It's fun just to wonder about all you can be. Let me sneak to the end. I'm going to tell you what the dream is. I pray you love Jesus with all of your heart. Whatever you do, that's the right place to start. He made you, he loves you, he's good, kind, and true. Jesus brings joy whatever you do. He died for your sin, he makes all things new. You can trust in his words, they're faithful and true. Walk with him, talk with him day after day. Follow King Jesus, the life, truth, and way. I love you so much, and I want you to know I'm cheering you on wherever you go. So this would be a great alternative at graduation parties. A lot of times people give Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. I can see this being a great alternative for that, for people to sign, just because of the message. Okay, these brand new books. It's like they knew we were gonna have a Librarian's Day. All these books came in the last couple weeks. You're So Brave and You're So Kind. In the general market, there's a trend with a lot of littles, like little biographies of little, and just books celebrating people, and they make them into, excuse me, littles. So that's what this one is. This one is You're So Brave, and it goes through different Bible characters and showing how they were brave because of God. And then the other one is You're So Kind. So it's different also set of Bible characters, men and women, Old and New Testament, and just showing how God helped them to be kind in tough situations. So very cool. This is a new series, and I'm guessing there will be more to come. Through the Wardrobe by How C.S. Lewis Created Narnia. This is a kid's book, kind of behind the scenes, what inspired him to create Narnia. So that's a pretty cool one. Jesus in the Lion's Den, another book from the Tales That Tell the Truth. That's really hard for me to say. This is showing how Jesus was in the lion's den with Daniel, and kind of brings a big connection to a true story about how Daniel points us to Jesus. Pretty cool. I don't know why I'm using the word cool. I'm sorry. I'll have to think of another one. Please forgive me. Little Mole Finds Hope did not come in time. So I think it's about anxiety, and I can't remember for sure. But I will try to get that. It's on its way. So Bible History ABCs is Bible History ABCs. Helmets, Faithful, Nazareth, Mount of Olives, Peter, Questions. So it is what the title says. God Cares When I'm Afraid by Stormy O. Martin. Another great one for these times when kids seem to have more fear. Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me." And it's just a story about being afraid and how God is with us and cares for us in that time. Another board book that I threw in here just because this series has been so popular, and I think it would be fun to have in the church library. Night Night Zoo is the most recent. There's Night Night Train, Night Night Jungle, Night Night Farm. There's holiday ones, but Amy Parker has done a great job showing animals and how Jesus created all these great night books. Night Night Zoo, and just $9.99, so that's a really great deal. Far From Home by Sarah Parker Rubio is a story of a refugee family, a story of loss, refuge, and hope. A family that leaves their home, and is kind of stuck as refugees. So just a really beautiful story and important for these days. It also ties it into how Jesus was a refugee to Egypt. Extraordinary Women of the Bible by Michelle Sloan. The Bible is filled with so many incredible women, and it's time we were introduced to them. So this is kind of a different way to do it, but different women: Ruth and Naomi, Deborah, Elizabeth. How Big Is Your Brave? This is a kid's version, a book from the same woman who wrote, I forget. Do It Scared is the adult kind of version of this, but just talking about doing things even when we're scared and finding the courage to be brave when things are hard. Not as much Christian content in here, but it's still very good to encourage kids to be brave. 2 more books in 4 books in this series from Dayspring. They're all very Bible stories. David and the Very Big Giant. Daniel and the Very Hungry Lions. Noah and the Very Big Boat. Jonah and the Very Big Fish. So 4 Bible stories about very big things. Why do we say goodnight? This is a book about a little girl that asks her mama, why do you tell me goodnight when you're leaving me? It's dark, I'm scared. And so mom goes to explain how God is always with her. There's light from God and the moon. And it really is a good night. So for children who might be afraid of bedtime, this would be a great one. That's why we say goodnight. When God Made the World. Next, the newest one from Matthew Paul Turner. Creation story. In the very beginning, before anything was, before God started doing what it is God does, when all that existed was wide open space, God imagined a universe and began to create. So, creation story. Fun. Let's My Jesus Story Collection by Desmond Tutu. This is 18 New Testament Bible stories that they've taken from previous things and compiled. So written by Desmond Tutu. Some pretty realistic illustrations there. So, My Jesus Story Collection. Buck Denver, the opposite of that. Buck Denver's Big Big Bubble by Phil Vischer. Phil Vischer is the one who brought us VeggieTales. He's Bob the Tomato. So this is his newest character creation. There's videos that go along with it, but Buck Denver is kind of a variety show host, and he tells Bible stories in lots of different ways. So the Big Big Bubble, A Lesson in Courage. Seems to be a theme. Little Prince, What Will You Be? By Naomi Zacharias, who we have learned is the daughter of Ravi Zacharias, who wrote the last book that we have. But this is Little Prince, I wonder what you'll be. I don't know the answer. I'll have to wait and see. So another growing up one. Let me show you the illustrations on this. Cute. And the last one on this section is The Merchant and the Thief by Ravi Zacharias, who just passed away. It is a retelling of a folktale from India about telling the truth. So that's a paperback. The rest of almost all the other ones have been hardcover. Okay, let's jump into the early readers. There's not a whole lot of them. This is, so they've taken the Berenstain Bears books and made them into, some of them into little early reader chapter books, which some of the Berenstain Bears are long enough they could almost be chapter books. But those are always the ones the kids pick out right at bedtime, right? The really long ones. So this is Berenstain Bears and the Rowdy Crowd and the Nature Rescue, but ones that they could read themselves. The Imagination Station series has been around a while. We are up to number 25, and I think last year we told you they were coming out. They stopped with paperback, and all of a sudden the last ones were hardcover. Well, I think they figured out that people didn't like that, so they've started going back and doing paperback. So now 20 and 21 are in paperback, and then 22 through 25 are still just in hardcover, but I would imagine they will come out in paperback if you want to have all your books match. But if you just want to have the series, these are, they're $4 more. So, and my daughter has grown out of them now, but she loved these books. I've pretty much boys and girls at the first grade through third, fourth grade. They can read them themselves. When they're older, you can read them to them, and I have not heard of any child that hasn't loved these. So Imagination Station, that's from Focus on the Family, Adventures in Odyssey. These were just coming out at the right around our library day last year. These are Gem Gold Town Beginnings, so kind of a, digging for gold Pa's panning for gold, Mama's baking pies, and washing laundry. What can 7-year-old Jem Coulter do to help out the family? He tries to run errands, but mean Will Sterling ruins everything. When Strike-It-Rich Sam, Jem's prospector friend, shows up with a scrawny dog, Jem might have an answer to the bully problem. If only Jem can convince his parents that another mouth to feed is a good idea. So, cute little chapter books, not too hard. They say ages 6 to 8 on the back. And we had a book from Bob the Tomato. Now we have books from Larry the Cucumber, Mike Naraki. These are books 4, 5, and 6 in his newest adventure, which is the Dead Sea Squirrels. And these are squirrels that were preserved in the Dead Sea and then came alive. So they are going back and doing Bible stories and other things. They have a lot of pictures in them. So for those, probably especially boys that don't like to read, girls too, but there's lots of pictures and maybe this might be a way to get them to read. There are 6 books out so far. I don't know if there will be plans for more, but that's a great one. And then book 7 in the Secret of the Hidden Scrolls book. This is actually a Christmas one, The King is Born, but this is a brother and sister that travel through time. Think of Magic Treehouse or Imagination Station. There are 7 books, and we have several copies of each still at 50% off. So this would be a great way to get the whole series, $7.35 for $17.50. I have through the 31st of August to order more at that price if you want. Like I said, there are 7 in the series. They go to different, they tell different Bible stories by time travel. So this is The King is Born, book 7, and that's the end of the series. Okay, there are not very many in those early readers. We have a lot that are just general good early readers, but not, these are the ones that are more Bible based. So let's jump into Tween. Are you still with me? You can pause. Well, you can pause later if you're tired, but I'm going to keep going. So third book in the Young Wit series, Young Wit and the Thieves of Barrymore. So this is another Adventures in Odyssey. Wit is the older man in the Adventures of Odyssey. This is him as a child and how he became Wit, the wise man in the Adventures of Odyssey. So this is the 3rd book in this series. 10-year-old John Avery Whitaker. Stand Up Guys, 50 Christian Men Who Changed the World. Again, these little biographies, both in general market and in Christian market, are very popular right now. So learning what we can from those who've gone before. Some of these are people that you know. Some of them are not. So Eric Liddell, but Thomas Wade Jackson, I don't know who that is. Maximilian Kolbe, maybe I need to read this book. Brian Stevenson. So anyway, Stand Up Guys. And then I think, I'm sorry if I got these out of order. I switched these at the last minute. So these are from Dayspring. If they're not next on your list, they're on there somewhere. 30 Boys with God-Sized Dreams and 30 Stories for Girls with God-Sized Dreams. And again, just those little bite-sized biographies with pictures of the people. These would be similar. So, Arcade. Oh, yeah. Now I've got myself confused. Arcade and the Fiery Metal Tester. This is the 3rd book in this series by Rashad Jennings. And Arcade is the name of the boy. A stolen backpack, a trip to China, a best friend moving to Florida, and a flamingo. Can things get any hotter? It's all in the flip of a coin. So there's that. The Hadley Academy for the Improbably Gifted. This is a tween, maybe young teenager book. Think X-Men, only with a Christian lean. So the Improbably Gifted means they have some sort of superpowers. I do have several copies at 50% off, which would make this $8.50. So that is a fun one. Another awkward school day when he finds himself transported to Hadley Academy, a secret institution that tracks teens with unlikely gifts and trains them to protect the world from an unseen squad of killers. I am so confused right now. Okay. Typical. Okay, second in a series from Karen Kingsbury, books for children that she co-wrote with her son, Finding Home. This is Baxter Family Children book. Imagine the Miracles of Jesus. This is a series all about imagine different Bible stories. So this is Imagine the Miracles of Jesus. Another Adventures in Odyssey. The Blackguard Chronicles Rook's Ruse. This is book 4. Dr. Blackguard sets his fiendish tactic in motion. So there's that. Here we go. To Sketch a Thief and Just Chill by Andy McGuire. These are, again, tween books. There are some illustrations in there. So they're chapter books. Join Micah and his friends from the popular animated series Micah's Super Vlog as they investigate some very odd and very personal thefts while struggling to work together to uncover the truth. So this is book 3 and 4 in this series. The Edge of Everyone. Hello, reader. I am honored to know you. Tragedy is sometimes followed by a mystery. At least that's what faces 13-year-old Piper and her brother Phoenix, who has autism. Mourning the loss of their parents, they must move 1,000 miles away to live with their insufferable Aunt Beryl. But it is in their aunt's cavernous library that Piper and Phoenix hear a mysterious book calling to them. Its name is Novus Fabula, and its story will change their lives forever. This is fairly new, like in the last 2 months. I haven't heard anything about it, but it looks really interesting. I can see one that would have been interesting to my son when he was younger. So, The Edge of Everyone. The Incredible World of Wally McDougall. These are re-releases from probably right after I was middle school, high school, by Bill Myers. And Wally McDougall is the main character. So, my life as a smashed burrito, my life as alien monster bait, my life as a broken bungee cord, my life as dinosaur dental floss, my life as a torpedo test target. So, fun chapter books, maybe geared more towards boys, but could be for both. Strong. I don't have Empowered to show you, but they're basically the same concept. Again, those short biographies, these don't have as many illustrations and pictures. They're more biography, novellas, I guess. I know that's not the right word. How God Equipped 11 Ordinary Men with Extraordinary Power, and Empowered is How God Changed 11 Women's Lives, both by Catherine Parks. The Wing Feather Saga, we are out of those right now. Those are so popular. They've re-released them with new covers and some new illustrations inside. We have books 1 and 2 and book 3 and 4 coming out in the next month or so by Andrew Peterson. And those are ones that I've heard church libraries have problems keeping on the shelf. I've heard so many good things about them. So they are Narnia-esque in another kind of a different world, but I can't say enough good about them. I wish I had them to show you. I'll try to post some as soon as we get them back in stock. Ainsley's Big Bake Off, the Daniel Sisters #1. This is a new Faith Girls series from the daughters of Winter Pitts, who passed away a couple years ago, and she did a lot of work with writing for girls. And so they took her daughters and had them write some stories with some help of others, I'm sure. And this is the first in that. So that 8 to 12-year-old age group is what Faith Girls kind of hits. The young readers edition of Nerves of Steel, which is the Captain Tammy Jo Schultz, who landed a plane that was severely handicapped and did a really great job. So this is a young reader's version of that. This one actually probably should have been in our picture books, and it was on last year. But with all the stuff going on in the world, I thought it was worth another look. It's a show and tell day at school, and Sam and his friends are feeling lots of emotions. He wonders why he is feeling flippy in his tummy, and why is Alex stomping his feet, and does Hudson usually have such a big grin? After several unchecked feelings threaten to ruin his big day, Sam and his friends start to learn how to give each emotion the name and ask God to help them remember. A feeling is just a feeling. It's not in charge of you. So again, we talked about this one last year, but I thought it was a good one to re-examine, and it should be in the picture book section, not the tween section, but here it is. What am I feeling? The last one in this section is a re-release, I believe, of Case for Christ, Young Readers Edition, Investigating the Toughest Questions About Jesus by Lee Strobel. So, is Jesus real? Is the Bible true? How can any of this be proven? Okay, we're almost done. The teen section, as usual, isn't very large, and we try to be careful what we show you here. I'll let you know what I know about them, but so one thing is Blink is a division of Thomas Nelson, but Blink is not necessarily Christian. It's clean content, but there may not be a lot of Bible content. So if that's really important to you for your library or for you as a person, just know that. And I'm happy to remind you of that again when you come in. Pretty and Poxitani, Wake Up, Go to School, Fall in Love, Repeat. So a clean teen book, teen romance. Melanie Dickerson does write Christian books. Hers are usually fairy tales revisited, and Peasant's Dream is a Cinderella story. So all of her, most of this series anyway, is a retelling of fairy tales. Coral by Sarah Ella is actually a reimagining of The Little Mermaid, I believe, a different author, but similar idea. And then this Wardens of Eternity, this is a Blink one, so I'm not exactly sure. It's fairly new, and it looks like it is a fantasy type book, if you couldn't tell from the cover. A Nile Queen, The Lost Heir, and The Magi's Blade. Okay. Love Riot is written by Sarah Barat. I'll get there. Sarah Barat. Her sister is a fiction writer who wrote a book about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Can't think of the name right now. A teenage call to reckless abandon for Christ. So Love Riot. It's time for a revolution, a holy uprising, a love riot. Becoming the next great generation. The world needs our passion, our strength, and our influence. Our generation stands on the brink of unprecedented opportunity and influence. Equipped with more than any generation before, we want to make a difference in the world. We want to count for something greater than ourselves, but sometimes it's not exactly clear how to turn our ideas and energy into reality. So that's what that one is about. The Inklings on Philosophy and Worldview, a new way of learning about our connections to truth and reality. Brand new book from Matthew Dominguez. Brings fresh, accessible, and philosophical approach to worldview, nurturing honest and honoring conversations between people of all beliefs along their faith journeys. He examines faith through the lens of the spiritual and the material, the two basic elements needed to grasp the nature of reality, as he explores the four major worldviews: idealism, materialism, monism, and theism. So maybe for deeper thinkers in the high school world. Revealed, I'm going to show these two together. Revealed and Radiant go together. Priscilla Shire, it's further down on your list, but these are both from the movie Overcomer, or based off of that movie, again, on identity in Christ. So a very important thing that everyone needs to know, but especially teenagers as they're growing into who God created them to be. So this is Reveal the Truth about who you really are, written more for boys, and then Radiant for teen girls and young women. So I know I've heard Priscilla talk about it on a podcast or something, and she didn't want it to say teen because she wants it to be for even older, like maybe college age and even young adult women. Why am I feeling like this? A Teen's Guide to Freedom from Anxiety and Depression. So if you watched the video with me earlier about parenting and family, there was, why is my teenager feeling like this? This is the companion book, or that's the companion book to this. The depression and anxiety is rampant in our teenagers right now. And so this is a book that is written for teenagers going through that to help them know they're not alone. Another important thing for teens, the Money Challenge for Teens, The world is telling teens that money equals happiness and whoever has the most stuff wins. But here's the truth. God has different plans. You and your money were meant for more. It challenges your kids to face college choices, car loans, and retirement. Yes, retirement. This book is filled with essential but easy to understand financial steps to help you avoid early pitfalls and chart a healthy financial future, one filled with contentment and generosity. So, the Bunny Challenge for teens. There is one for adults if you think you might be interested. Sadie Robertson, this is called Live. Remain alive, be alive at a specified time, have an exciting or fulfilling life. She is still pretty popular with young girls, and it's just an encouragement book for them to be truly living. Trent Shelton, straight up, honest, unfiltered, as real as I can put it, advice for life's biggest challenges. Trent is an NFL player. So, retired NFL player, top motivational speaker, author, and podcast host who had dreams of traveling the world to help others respect their greatness. So, straight up from Zondervan. And then I talked about Radiant. And then the last one is Pure Excitement, 3 Truths for Teens in a Time of Sexual Lies. Imagine being absolutely positively overwhelmingly head over heels in love with someone. In this classic book, updated for today's teen, one of the most caring and captivating youth speakers in the nation helps you figure out God's awesome plan for sex, love, and dating. So, Pure Excitement by Joe White, who has been around a while, revised and expanded. Okay, that is the list for kids and youth. Thank you for hanging in there with me if you did. If not, remember, if you're catching it at the end, you can go back. We'll post the videos later. And we still have one more session to go today. Stick with us for, it's my favorite fiction, and that will be coming up in just a little bit. We'll let you take a break, and I will come back live and chat with you for a minute, and then we will show you our fiction section. So if you have questions over these, let me know. I know I went through them really fast. If you want to come in and look and see, bring your committee, just call us to set up an appointment so that we can make sure we have plenty of space for you to spread out, and we would be happy to do that. So I will be back soon. Bye.